What's going on YouTube? It's Jose, aka KJ Lane Vision. I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to talk about Final Cut Pro and the HLG profile. As some of you know, I just recently switched over to Final Cut Pro and I've been learning a lot about it. One of the biggest things that I don't know what I was doing, I thought I was messing up somehow, is using the HLG profile on Sony. As some of you may know, HLG profile is somewhat new to the Sony cameras, and it's become very popular. So a lot of people are using it. So with that being said, I love it. It's a lot easy to color grade, especially when you're just doing random vlogs or just quick footage that's not like a huge project. It's just enough to get flat enough to color correct and add LUTs if you use LUTs, as well as still having enough color in there, not being so flat that it's not too difficult to color grade. Unlike S-Log, where it's extremely flat and it takes a lot longer to color grade, and then you have to make sure that you expose properly and all those other things. You don't have to deal with that when it comes to HLG. So I prefer to use HLG for most of my small projects. Well, going into Final Cut Pro, I noticed when I import my HLG video footage, it has an issue. And it's something that I noticed there's not a lot of videos out there about it. There are a few, but for the people who are following me and may decide to switch to Final Cut Pro, based off what I start showing them on my tutorials, this is something that you might run into if you use a Sony camera, or even some Panasonics have the HLG profile. And so yeah, I just wanted to show you how you fix this issue that I've been having. So let's go ahead and dive right into the computer and we'll check it out. So as you can see here, I have something that's already made, a project. This is not anything I'm working on. I just created this specifically for this situation. So we're going to take a look here. As you can see, I have this footage here of just out there in the car, the sky. The footage doesn't look, it's just out there. It's just random footage that I captured for this tutorial. As you can see, it looks normal. No problems, anything. So when I bring it down to my timeline, look at that exposure. And you may or may get this pop-up depending on if you check this off before or not. And it's basically saying adding HDR clips to SDR project. Bright content will be clipped. To adjust the image brightness, apply color correction effect or apply HDR tools effect to this clip. Now what's going on here, if you try to put the HDR tool, it does fix it somewhat, but it's not the best option. So the best option here, as you can see now, my footage looks super overblown and it looks terrible. It doesn't look like how it looked up here. So what you do is you click here on the file, and once you click there, you're going to come up here to this eye up here. And once you click on this eye, you're going to get some settings. Now, usually if it's your first time coming in here, it's going to start right here where it says basic. This is not where you need to be. You need to click where it says basic and go to settings. Then when you go into your settings, here you're going to see what's called a color space override. Now, in here, when my HLG profile, it's either Rec 709 or Rec 2020. Those are your two options when it comes to the HLG profile. I use Rec 709, so if that's what you use, you will click on Rec 709. And as you can see, my footage is back to normal. Now it won't come out a little bit dark, but that's a little bit darker than it is up here. Not by much, but you'll just make some quick adjustments to fix that in your color correction. And now my footage is as good as new. Some other things you could do if you use the Rec 2020, you could use that. You can even use the Rec 2020 in this. It does add a little bit more color in there, as you can see. But if you want it to be a little bit more flatter, then go ahead with the Rec 709 if you use the Rec 709, and vice versa. And there's that. You just fix it, and now you can edit your footage. A lot of things you can do to make things much quicker is if you have a bunch of video profiles here, you just control all and then go to your info and change that, and it'll change all of them before you even bring them down to your timeline. Basically, that's the quick information on how to fix your HLG footage on Final Cut Pro. It's something that bothered me for a while. It took me a little bit to get fixed. There was some other tutorials out there to do something totally different, which basically there's another option to switch your timeline to an HDR gamma timeline, and so it automatically does that. The issue with that is that when you export your footage, it's also going to export it in that gamma HDR, which YouTube does accept gamma HDR and then converts it to a 709 profile. The issue is I rather use my editing profile to convert that like I just did instead of relying on YouTube to convert my profile, because then it might just not come out the same. Can't always trust YouTube or other platforms out there that you're using, and then if that happens, you'll have to come in and re-edit the whole thing. So I might as well trust my editing software to convert it for me and make those changes so I can do it in the edit, so I know that I export at a 709 profile, so it goes on YouTube at a 709 like YouTube prefers. With that being said, the issue that it's having is it sees, for some reason, Final Cut Pro, maybe it'll get fixed in the future, Final Cut Pro sees an HLG profile as an HDR profile, and it's trying to display the footage in an HDR format. With that being said, most Macs don't have the capabilities to display HDR footage like they should be displayed, and so that's why it's kind of getting blown out when it makes that transformation and overexposing it. This display on the Mac computers can't display it. If you use a computer that can display it, you might not have this issue, but if you are, that is the solution for it. And that's that. Thank you for your time. If you like this video, please comment, like, and subscribe. It really helps. Also, stay tuned for more tutorials coming soon, especially with Final Cut Pro. As I'm switching to this, the things I learned, I want to teach you guys. So thank you so much. Again, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.